to be discussing a unit on legal issues, and specifically it will be about MP3 file sharing. When we're done with our discussion and the reading of this letter that I'm going to read to you, you're going to be asked the question, is the Recording Industry Association of America right to go after music fans who illegally download music? What we won't discuss is whether or not downloading MP3 files is illegal or not, because it is illegal. But what we'll be discussing is issues around that, and you'll be writing and telling me whether you think that the recording industry should prosecute individuals who do, in fact, download files illegally. So let me start with this article. Brianna doesn't look like a typical thief. However, behind the curly hair, wire-rimmed glasses, and happy smile is a 12-year-old pirate, at least according to the Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA. The RIAA accused Brianna of stealing after she illegally downloaded music off the internet. The honor student from New York City had used a computer software program to download songs. Brianna also shared her music files with other computer users. Swapping songs might seem innocent, but in most cases it is a violation of copyright law. Copyright law gives artists, writers, and musicians control over how their work is used and reproduced. The RIAA represents record companies and their performers. In September, the group sued Brianna and 260 other people for piracy, or copying music without permission, and then sharing the music. One person the RIAA sued was a 71-year-old Texas man whose grandchildren used his computer to copy music from the internet. The lawsuits have created a sour note between the recording company executive and music fans. Before personal computers became popular, people flocked to record shops to buy music. Today, however, about 60 million people download music files from the internet. The RIAA blames music pirates for a 31% drop in the sales of compact discs. A recent poll found that about half of all U.S. teens download or share copyright music from the internet. That makes artists upset. I understand why people download music, but for me and my fellow artists, this is our livelihood, said a well-known music artist. What if you didn't get paid for your work? Put yourself in our shoes. The RIAA says the file swapping is no different from shoplifting a CD from a music store. Last April, the RIAA sued 4 college students for downloading and sharing music. The students avoided going to court by paying between $12,000 and $17,000 each. These fines are cheap. People found guilty of breaking copyright laws can pay up to $150,000 per song and go to prison for 3 years. Some people who download music argue that the RIAA is going after the wrong people when it sues 12-year-old children and grandfathers. They blame song swapping services such as Kazaa, Grokster, and iMesh for making music easy to get online. They need to go after the music swapping services, not the people who download, said one music lover who admitted to downloading hundreds of songs. Other people argue that file sharing should not be illegal. They say that record companies just want to make more money. Besides, they argue, why should you pay for music on your computer when there's no cost to listen to the same song on the radio or to watch music videos or television? As for Brianna, she believed it was okay to download music from the internet because she had paid $29.99 to Kazaa for 3 months of use. To Brianna, that price seemed like a bargain compared to the $17 she might have paid for a brand new CD. Even some musicians admit that the RIAA is being short-sighted for going after hardcore music fans. The artists say that the internet gives people access to their music. If a person enjoys an artist, for example, that person is more likely to buy a CD and attend concerts by the artist. Brianna's mother, Sylvia, agreed to pay $2,000 to settle the lawsuit with the RIAA. In a letter of apology, Torres admitted that her daughter's action violated U.S. copyright laws. Brianna also said she was sorry for breaking the law, adding, "I love music and don't want to hurt the artists I love." We're now going to have a class discussion. One side of the class will be those who believe that the RIAA should prosecute individuals for illegally downloading MP3 files. And if you choose that side, you will select the south side of the classroom. If you believe that they should not prosecute, you will be no, and you will be on the north side of the classroom. And what you will then do is have a class discussion, not an argument. You will discuss this topic and make your points, ask questions, and answer questions from the opposing side. If at any time you change your mind, it is okay to cross over to the other side. This is about gathering information so at the end you can write an essay that has an introduction, 3 body paragraphs and a conclusion, taking the side that you choose to take. Let me explain something at this point in the discussion. I think it's going to help clarify a technical aspect you may not understand. If I have a service like Morpheus, and they are what is called a peer-to-peer file sharing service, what that means is on my computer out here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load software onto my machine. It will also share a folder of files. Most common is MP3, but it doesn't have to be MP3. And out here, around the world, we'll call this the Morpheus world, we have all these shared folders sitting out here on people's computers. And what that means is I can go to my computer right here, I can put my CD into the CD player, and I can rip all the MP3 files off of my CD. If I then put my files in this MP3 folder, then everybody around the world who is also running this peer-to-peer file sharing software has access to my MP3 files. In many cases, some of this software also allows people to get into your computer to not only put stuff, but leave stuff in it. So you've got to be careful with that. There are virus and security issues associated with some peer-to-peer file sharing software. That's a concern you should have. And also what you need to understand is that there is a record of everything that you have downloaded and everything that you have shared. Now, your computer keeps records. Your, what is called Internet Service Provider has records. And out here in the Internet world, there is also track records of files that are moved and shared across the Internet. So if you have illegally downloaded MP3 files, there is a record of them. And you say, well, nobody is ever going to come into my house and look at my computer. Well, one of the most common areas that this has happened on is college campuses, and that's because students are using a state institution or a private institution's network, and the technicians of that institution keep track of what's moving on the network. And many times the recording industry can come to those technicians and say, we want to look at the log of illegally shared files. I'm simplifying, but essentially they go to your room, they look at your laptop, they see that the files are there, and you're in trouble. Or maybe your neighbor knows that you've been playing these illegal MP3 files, they tell law enforcement, RIAA gets notified, they get a subpoena, they come to your house with official records, they come in and take your computer, and they go look at it, and they say, okay, can you tell me where you got all these files, because they're all illegally downloaded on your computer. And obviously the lawsuits follow forth from there. So that's how peer-to-peer file sharing works.